The mood around Ibrox has been tense, and it is impossible to ignore the feeling that something crucial is missing from this Rangers side right now. Coming off the most recent performance, there was a real sense of frustration among supporters, not because of a defeat on the scoreboard, but because of how flat and uninspiring the team looked. It was one of those afternoons where the lack of creativity was glaring, where possession felt harmless, and where the attacking play never truly threatened. For many watching, it stood out as the poorest display seen under the current manager so far, a match that confirmed long-standing concerns rather than creating new ones. What that game exposed more than anything was the urgent need for quality in the final third. Rangers are crying out for players who can unlock defenses, players who can deliver something decisive from open play and from set pieces. Too often this season, corners and free kicks have felt like wasted opportunities rather than genuine chances to score. When matches are tight and margins are small, those moments matter, and Rangers simply have not been good enough in those situations. That reality has put the January transfer window firmly under the microscope, with expectations rising and patience wearing thin. Against that backdrop, news has emerged that brings both excitement and irritation in equal measure. Rangers have managed to reach a verbal agreement for a striker who has been on the club's radar for some time, following several failed attempts earlier in the window. Multiple approaches were knocked back, negotiations dragged on, and eventually an understanding was reached. The problem is not the player, who many believe has the qualities Rangers desperately need, but the timing. The agreement points towards a move in the summer rather than an immediate arrival, and that delay has not gone down well with the support that feels the team needs help right now, not months down the line. There is a strong sense that waiting until the end of the season undermines the urgency of the current title race. Rangers do not have the luxury of planning only for the future when the present demands action. Supporters have made it clear that securing a forward for later does little to address the struggles being seen week after week. The feeling is that this deal, while positive on paper, does nothing to solve the immediate problem of a blunt attack that lacks a reliable goal scorer. Because of that, attention has shifted quickly to another name, one that looks far more likely to arrive before the window shuts. A move for Cameron Archer appears to be progressing and could be signed off before deadline day passes. This has sparked a fierce debate among fans, many of whom are questioning whether this is the right solution. The concern is not just about potential, but about output, consistency, and whether this kind of signing truly raises the level of the squad during such a critical phase of the season. When supporters dig into the numbers, the doubts grow louder. The goal return from his recent spells does little to inspire confidence, especially for a club chasing silverware. Rangers have seen this story unfold before, with short-term attacking options arriving in January only to make minimal impact. Comparisons are being drawn to previous loan signings who promised much but delivered very little, leaving the team no better off and the same problems unresolved. That is why the reaction has been so strong. Many believe that signing another forward without a proven cutting edge risks repeating past mistakes. The title race is unforgiving, and there is a widespread belief that without genuine quality added now, Rangers will struggle to keep pace. The draw away from home served as a stark reminder that dominance in possession means nothing without goals, and that is where Rangers are falling short. Away from the pitch, the final days of the transfer window have been frantic. While the focus of most fans was on the disappointing result at the weekend, Behind-the-scenes recruitment discussions continued at full speed. Deadline day always brings a shift in attention, with meetings, phone calls, and negotiations taking center stage as clubs scramble to finalize their plans. Rangers are no different, and this winter has already seen a flurry of activity aimed at reshaping the squad. Several new faces have already come through the door with the intention of adding balance and depth across different areas of the pitch. These additions suggest a clear attempt to address weaknesses that have been evident throughout the campaign. However, as the window reaches its closing hours, it is becoming increasingly clear that departures may outnumber arrivals. Streamlining the squad and correcting issues left behind from previous recruitment decisions has become a priority. A number of players now appear to be edging closer to the exit. One defender in particular is closing in on a move abroad, with an agreement reportedly in place for a loan that includes an option to buy at the end of the season. Should that option be triggered, it would come with a long-term contract, underlining the belief that there is still potential to be unlocked elsewhere. This development highlights the ongoing effort to clear out players who no longer fit into the current plans. This process is widely seen as part of a wider cleanup operation following a disastrous summer window that left Rangers with an unbalanced squad. The consequences of that period were swift and severe, with changes in the managerial position and lingering issues that have taken time to address. Even now, the ripple effects are being felt, forcing the club to make difficult decisions in order to move forward. Other exits also look likely before the window closes. A striker has already been spotted back in his home country as talks continue, while a midfielder could also be on his way out after failing to make the desired impact. These moves point towards a squad in transition, one that is still searching for the right mix as the season enters its decisive phase. January has been intense for Rangers, marked by constant movement and a sense that everything is being done under pressure. Business has been conducted at both ends of the squad, and there's a strong feeling that the final hours will bring further changes. Yet, amid all the noise and activity, the footballing reality remains unchanged. A goalless draw did little to help Rangers' cause, and without a sharper edge in attack, the uphill battle in the title race only becomes steeper. As the deadline ticks closer, the feeling around Rangers is one of urgency mixed with uncertainty. Every hour that passes without decisive movement only sharpens the debate among supporters about whether the club are truly doing enough to protect their ambitions this season. The margins at the top are already fine, and there is a growing belief that hesitation now could prove costly later. January windows rarely offer perfect solutions, but this one feels like it demands bold decisions rather than cautious compromises. What worries many fans is that the underlying issues have been obvious for weeks, if not months. The lack of a consistent goal threat has not appeared overnight, and the recent performance simply brought it into sharper focus. Rangers can dominate territory, control spells of possession, and look relatively solid at the back. But without someone capable of turning pressure into goals, that control becomes meaningless. Matches drift, confidence drains, and frustration spreads from the pitch to the stands. There is also a sense that this squad has been asking the same questions of itself without finding convincing answers. Set pieces, once a reliable weapon, have lost their bite. Open play often feels predictable, with too few runners attacking dangerous spaces. and too little imagination in the final pass. These are not problems that fix themselves through effort alone. They require players with the instinct, quality, and belief to make the difference when games are tight. That is why the debate around recruitment has been so intense. Bringing in someone on a short-term basis who has struggled elsewhere feels like a gamble that Rangers can ill afford. Supporters have seen this pattern before, where hope is pinned on a player rediscovering form under pressure, only for reality to bite hard. The concern is not about effort or attitude, but about whether the level required to win a title is actually present. At the same time, the agreement for a forward to arrive in the summer adds another layer of complexity. On one hand, it shows that planning is taking place and that Rangers are thinking beyond the immediate horizon. On the other, it raises uncomfortable questions about priorities. If a player is identified as being good enough to lead the line in the future, why is he not being brought in when the team arguably needs him most? For supporters invested in the here and now, that delay feels like a missed opportunity. Behind the scenes, the club appeared determined to correct past mistakes. The steady flow of departures suggests a clear attempt to reshape the squad and move away from decisions that did not pay off. Trimming numbers, freeing up space, and restoring balance are all sensible steps, especially after a period where recruitment left Rangers carrying players who were not contributing at the required level. This process, however, takes time, and time is something that feels in short supply. The manager finds himself walking a fine line. On one side, there is the need to stabilize the group, maintain morale, and avoid panic. On the other, there is immense pressure to deliver results and keep Rangers competitive at the top end of the table. Every choice is scrutinized, every rumor dissected, and every move judged not just on potential, but on immediate impact. What complicates matters further is that performances have not been consistently poor. There have been spells where Rangers look capable, organized, and in control. That is what makes the recent frustration so sharp. The sense that the team is close but not quite there can be harder to accept than clear decline. It feeds the argument that one or two decisive additions could change everything, turning draws into wins and restoring belief. As the window edges towards its conclusion, attention inevitably shifts back to the pitch. Transfers can only do so much, and ultimately it is the players already in the building who must respond. The challenge is whether they can raise their level quickly enough to compensate for what has not arrived. That demands sharper movement, braver decision-making, and a ruthless edge that has too often been missing. The title race does not wait for perfect conditions. Rivals will not slow down, and dropped points have a habit of haunting teams later in the season. Rangers know this all too well, which is why the recent stalemate felt like more than just another draw. It felt like a warning, a reminder that solid foundations alone are not enough without the firepower to finish the job. In the coming days, clarity will emerge one way or another. The window will shut, deals will be done or abandoned, and the squad will be set for the run-in. Until then, the sense of anticipation remains heavy. Supporters are watching closely, hoping for signs that the club truly understands the scale of the challenge ahead, and that the decisions being made now will not leave Rangers short when it matters most, especially with so much still to play for and so little room for error as the season continues to unfold. Beyond transfers and tactical adjustments, there is an increasing focus on mentality within the squad. Matches like the recent goalless draw highlight that technical ability alone will not carry Rangers to the top. Composure under pressure, decisiveness in key moments, and belief in the team's own attacking potential are now just as important. Players must step up, take responsibility, and find ways to convert the chances they do create, because the margin for error is vanishing quickly, and every point dropped could prove costly in a title race this tight. Equally, the pressure on the manager is mounting. Decisions regarding who plays, who moves, and how the squad is balanced will be scrutinized in real time, and the expectations from supporters are higher than ever. The combination of strategic recruitment, decisive game management, and a squad willing to seize the moment will define whether Rangers remain genuine contenders for the Scottish Premiership or whether the opportunity slips away, leaving questions that will echo long after the final whistle of this season. Before we continue, make sure to subscribe to our channel and turn on notifications to get all the exclusive news about Rangers FC. Don't overlook any details about your beloved team. It's crucial for Rangers FC fans. Whispers have been swirling around Ibrox since a dramatic incident at what was meant to be a closed-door training session, leaving Rangers supporters fearing the worst. According to sources close to the club, one of the team's key figures was carried off the pitch on a stretcher, screaming in pain after pulling up sharply during an intense drill. Phones were swiftly pocketed, gates remained shut, and the silence that followed only fueled speculation that this was no minor knock. The player, widely regarded as central to the manager's plans, is now expected to miss the upcoming clash with LUDOGORETS, a blow that could reshape the entire approach to the tie. Inside the training ground, the mood reportedly shifted in an instant. Coaches halted the session, teammates looked on in disbelief, and medical staff rushed to stabilize the situation before escorting the player away from the pitch. Officially, the club have offered little more than a brief update describing the issue as under assessment. Unofficially, however, there is growing concern that this could be more than a short-term setback. Some voices around the club are already asking whether this moment signals an abrupt end to the player's season, especially given the way he had to be removed and the audible distress reported by those present. For Rangers, the timing could hardly be worse. With momentum building and expectations rising, losing such an influential presence forces hard decisions. Do they gamble on an untested replacement or alter the system entirely to plug the gap? Supporters, meanwhile, are left clinging to hope while bracing for bad news. Until clearer information emerges, the story remains one of rumor and unease. Yet, the image of a Rangers star leaving a secret session on a stretcher is as hard to shake. If fears are confirmed, this could become one of those moments fans look back on and say, it changed everything. Greetings, fans. Make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel, as it's greatly appreciated by Rangers FC. And don't forget to share your thoughts on the news in the comments section below. Until the next video, stay tuned.